Hi, welcome to another episode of Miss Erica's Crazy Costume Catastrophe. This week, Miss Erica is dressed like a goat because a lot of the sacrifices in the Bible involve goats. And today, we're learning a little bit about sacrifices from Romans 12. Kids, be sure to read all of Romans 12 together with your mom and dad. Mom and dad, you can find lots of fun, creative ways to explore Romans 12 with your kiddos in your parent email, so be sure to check that out. All right, let's get started. First, let's explore where we're at on our Big Bible timeline. Here is Paul giving the letter to the Romans to Phoebe. Phoebe's the one who takes this letter all the way to Rome and delivers it to the house churches that were in Rome. We're going to learn a little bit more about her next week. Here is a map of where Rome is. Remember, right now Rome is the capital of Italy, but back then Rome was the capital of the entire Roman Empire. And whatever happened in Rome eventually made its way to the rest of the empire. And so Paul understood how strategic and important these tiny house churches in Rome were. I got my friends Caleb and Charisse to read to us from the first few verses in Romans 12, and then we'll explore it together.
Hi, I am Caleb and Charisse's robot friend. I'm going to read Romans 12:1-2. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
Thanks, guys. Paul is saying here to the people in Rome, guys, listen up. Because you have experienced God's mercy, offer yourselves, your whole bodies, all of you, as living sacrifices. First, let's explore that phrase, living sacrifices. Normally in the Bible, when you would sacrifice something, you would kill it. So you would sacrifice a dead sheep or a dead goat or a dead dove. But Paul is asking these people to sacrifice themselves. But he doesn't want them dead. He knows that doesn't do anybody any good. But what he does want them to be is to become a living sacrifice. So to come and bring themselves to God and offer God their whole lives, everything that they're about, everything that they say and do, their entire lives, to give that to God every day as an offering. Okay, the second thing I want us to explore is a Greek word. We haven't learned a Greek word in a while. So here Paul says, this is your logikos worship. Logikos is a Greek word that means rational or reasonable. It sounds a lot like our English word, logical. And that's actually where that English word comes from. And it means the same thing. Just logical, reasonable, rational thing to do. So here Paul is saying, because you have experienced God's mercy, the only logical thing to do is to offer your whole life as a living sacrifice back to God. Remember, Paul is talking to men and women and boys and girls that have already made Jesus their king. But we've been learning that they weren't always acting like it. They weren't treating each other well or being kind to one another. And so now at this point in the book of Romans, Paul is shifting and starting to talk about, okay, I've told you what not to do. Now I'm going to talk to you about how you should live going forward. After you have made Jesus your king, what should your life look like? And so these verses here are a great kicking off to that part in Romans 12. He's saying, okay, guys, you've already experienced God's mercy. You've already made Jesus your king because you've experienced how good and how wonderful and how perfect of a king he is. So because of that, the only logical, reasonable, bare minimum thing that you should be doing is to offer your whole life to God as a living sacrifice. For you and me, When we have made Jesus our King, we've decided to do that because we have experienced God's great love and mercy. We have experienced how great of a King Jesus is. Even on Sunday at Family Large Group in the park, we learned that Jesus is such a great King that he went and adopted us into his family. But sometimes after we make Jesus our King, we kind of have this now what moment. I even know grown-ups who feel that way sometimes. They don't know what to do now that they've made Jesus their King. What should their life look like after they have experienced God's mercy? Well, Paul's words to these Romans are pretty helpful for you and me too. After we have experienced God's mercy, the only logical way to worship him is to give him our whole lives as a living sacrifice. This week, I want you to grab some Play-Doh. No worries if you don't have Play-Doh. Just grab a stuffed animal with arms and legs and a head, or just draw yourself on a piece of paper, like this. Then I want you to take your Play-Doh, if that's what you're using, and make a person out of it. Okay, then what I want you to do is take turns praying as a family. Think about the different body parts that you have. Your mouth, your eyes, your hands, your feet. Oh, that was uncomfortable. And spend some time telling Jesus, Jesus, I give you my arms, or Jesus, I give you my mouth, or Jesus, I give you my feet. And I want you to use them as a living sacrifice to do good things for your kingdom. Take some time praying through your different body parts, especially focusing on the ones that maybe you normally don't use for Jesus's kingdom. Think about maybe the ones you often use to hurt people or be mean. Definitely start with those body parts and tell Jesus, I want to give you all of me as a living sacrifice. This week, I would love to see you guys out at Family Large Group in the park. We're going to be hanging out again at Lake Akatink and celebrating all of who Jesus is while we read the Bible, sing and worship together, pray together, share together, respond together, all those fun things about being together as Jesus's church. So I would love to see you guys there. I hope you can make it. Oh, hi. You kind of interrupted me. I'm really hungry, so I'm just going to have a little snack before I finish filming, okay? Did you guys know goats eat almost anything? All right, guys, it's been so fun hanging out with you. Thanks for watching another episode of Miss Erica's Crazy Costume Catastrophe. Bye!
Wait, who's the sacrifice? Am I the sacrifice?
Dash, you're not a living sacrifice. You're just a robot.